Welcome to the show. I'm Veronica Newfer. The school board election ballots need to be turned in by Tuesday, May 19th. Our children are our future, and I would advise every voter to carefully consider how you vote. Many times, how each of us want our kids influenced is quite different than what is happening. Do you have the same values as your child's teacher? Today, my guests are Jason Yates and Norma Swanborough. They are running for school board. Jason in Newburgh and Norma in McMinnville. We will be talking about the importance of a child needing a proper foundation as his mind develops and why having the right oversight in schools are necessary for the future of our society. There are others running in Yamhill County that share our values of local control, and we want to encourage you to support them if you can. We'll mention a couple, but also do your homework wherever you live and elect those with like values you'd like to see passed on to your children. And thank you for Jason for being here, and I'm glad you're running.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I got to get an understanding of your values when you're running for Congress District 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have been a better choice, I think.
Yeah, especially with some of the votes that have happened since November, yes.
Yeah, but one good thing, we got to keep you here locally because there's a lot of things happening federally, but we really need to take care of things locally. Mm-hmm. That's real important. And our future is our children.
And that's one reason I decided the school board might be a better option for me at this point, especially having a kindergartner just now coming into his first year in school. My son, I'm concerned about what's going to happen with him, especially with the Common Core standards and how they're still trying to figure that out. And I just wanted to be able to make a difference in his life and his education, because I come from both sides of the education. I was actually public schooled through mm-hmm. 5th grade, and then I was homeschooled from 6th grade to graduation. Mm-hmm. So I've seen both sides of the education spectrum, so I'm able to kind of bring both of those together mm-hmm. to be a better influence there on the board, since I have two different viewpoints.
Yeah, I also have two perspectives too. I was went to public school, and then I went to a private Christian school in my high school years, and I'll tell you what, night and day. Mm-hmm. Night and day. And teachers care in the public school system most of the time, I think. So it's not always with the teachers, but they're bound by rules. And with this Common Core, there's rules. It's all about rules.
It is. And then there's cookie cutter standards that every child is expected to just automatically fit in. And if they don't fit in it, well, they're going to be forced into that standard. There's no two children that are exactly the same. Uh-huh. And I'm shocked that, even if you look at it just on the surface, Common Core, I don't want my child to be a common student. Mm-hmm. I want them to be able to have the chance to excel, especially in the fields that they want to excel in. If you look around the state, we've had a diverse, areas of study. Up in Seaside, I have a niece up there, very big in marine biology up there, but they have no space to put it into the system because of funding and because of Common Core.
Wow.
Here, we're probably more agriculture focused. We have no room for it in Common Core to be able to teach farming and animal husbandry to students. There's no room for it in Common Core, so it's now shut out. These are areas that they could grow up in and actually have a career and actually give back to the community, but their education won't allow for it.
What do you see in Common Core that bothers you the most? Like, what are they doing?
It's mainly the cookie cutter standards. Mm-hmm. They're expecting you to do this in 8th grade, this in 9th grade, this in 10th grade, and if you don't do it, then you've got to start all over again. But mm-hmm. once you hit that standard, you're done. They're not going to teach you anything else mm-hmm. because they've got to get all of the other kids to exactly mm-hmm. your level. Mm-hmm. So it's like rank and file. Everybody's mm-hmm. got to be the same way. That doesn't work for children. Some children are a little bit more mm-hmm. developmentally challenged, so they're a little further behind. Some are gifted and much further ahead. You have to allow for different levels of children's education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was listening to an expert on the radio last night, and he goes so far as to say that they're purposely dumbing down our children so they fit into a world community instead of a free society here in the United States. Do you have any comment on that?
And I can definitely see that, because they're blocking children from being able to excel. What they basically did is they took the ACT and the SAT and reversed engineered it back down all the way down to kindergarten, so that they're only teaching children how to get through 2 tests at the end that are actually subjective. They're not even objective. You don't prove anything by having a high ACT or high SAT. It just means that you're good at tests, or you're good at the theories of taking a test. But how is that going to give you a job?
Well, and I hear a lot of people are really kids, that we should be instilling positive encouragement into their lives, so they grow up excelling and feeling like they can do it. So they do have that hope in their life. And instead, they come home from school crying or very upset because they're so frustrated. I mean, what a terrible thing in our society that we let things slip by to the point to where our kids are getting treated like this.
I know it. It's really bad in the Newburgh district. Only 63% of the 8th graders are at an 8th grade reading level. By the time they get into high school, only 53% of them are where they should be on their math levels. And probably the saddest statistic that I learned...
Is that with Common Core or without, or...
With the first 2 years of Common Core, those have not been figured in. These are statistics from about 2 years ago, because they haven't had enough time to actually plug in all the Common Core statistics. But as of 2 years ago, 63% and 53% are not at reading and math levels. But one of the saddest statistics in Newburgh is that more than 50% of the students are living in poverty. They're at the poverty line or below, which isn't really giving them a chance to succeed, because their parents are busy having to work to make ends meet. And then when they go to school, they're having to learn about these new concepts, new ways to do addition, new ways to figure out word problems in English, reading essays. And then these parents, because they learned their education in a different way, especially the math, they have no idea how the new Common Core math is. So they just have to tell their kids, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And so this is pushing kids further and further down the level, because if they can't figure it out, if they can't talk to their parents, and their teacher only has so many minutes per day that they can spend with them, they're just going to drop it and try to just limp through the best they can. So this is not good for Newburgh, and that's one reason I decided to run, was to try to help change that. I would love to see Common Core removed, and then let the local school board decide what curriculum is best for our students, because there's other school districts that are much better financially. There are other ones that have more in a well-to-do community, but Newburgh kind of is right in the middle. Not poor, not bad, but we need to be able to focus on our students. Well, if we're having to use these Common Core standards that are nationwide, we're not going to be able to do that with our children. This doesn't work for us.
And this national big giant government's not going to let we the people decide, let's have school choice, because if they did that at this point, wow, they would lose tons of people that are unhappy with Common Core, which I would say is well over the majority. I don't know what the stats are, but and conservatives obviously don't like it. Many liberals don't like it. I mean, it's universal. Teachers don't like it, mostly. So nobody's really happy with it, but this big mega giant government program isn't going away unless the people actually find a way to force it to go away.
And sadly, we don't even know who these people are that have set up the Common Core standards. It's a handful of Washington bureaucrats who've probably never even stepped foot in Oregon, telling us how our children need to be raised, how they need to be educated. I just do not see that as a benefit for our students here. We've got to change that. Something
I've seen on Facebook, you can enlighten me whether it's true or not, but that in Newburgh, part of this curriculum is teaching Islam's good, and praying, per mat, praying to Allah, and tell the teacher if your parents have a gun. Like, they fill out a questionnaire. Do your parents have a gun? Where do they keep it? And then they're not supposed to tell their parents about some of the things that they've been asked. Have you heard of any of that?
I have heard about the Islam part. The best I've been able to figure out with the few students that have actually gotten this, it was a one-day project. They were given a one-page questionnaire that they had to basically listen all day and then answer the questions correctly. But the thing is, if you're going to go with separation of church and state, you either need to take it completely out, or you have to be equal.
Yeah.
So why is Islam getting a day, but Christianity, Buddhism, atheism, why are they not all getting a day as well? If you're
Yeah.
going to teach students about religion, teach them all so that they can make a choice
Yeah.
when they grow up.
You know, I have a better idea. There's no separation of church and state, you know that. But
There
I'm
is.
just saying equal, you know, if they actually believe in it, then follow through on what they believe in. But, you know, this nation was founded by a Judeo-Christian nation. You know, that, and then our founders actually fought Islam to even get across. I mean, they had to take a different route, I understand, to even get to the nation, because they didn't consider Islam a religion. They considered them kind of a gang, like the Bloods and the Crips and Islam, you know, in a way. Back then, now all of a sudden we're treating it differently. But, I mean, we're not here to talk about that, but just the point that in the schools they're not teaching that. And if they, you know, history, we need to know our history. And the kids should know the truth, not this fabrication of the truth.
I agree. What we need to do is just watch the news and see what's actually happening when you look at what Islam is doing across the world.
Yeah.
Now, as for the gun thing that you brought up, I haven't heard any reports about that here in Newburgh. I have heard about that being done in other places in the country, but I have heard about the medicine cabinet assignment, where kids were sent home with a sheet to write down all the medicines that were in their mom and dad's medicine cabinet, and then turn it back in to the teacher the next day.
Wow.
Well, why does the teacher need to know what medicines are being in someone's home? Whether it's prescription or whether it's not, whether it's, you know, just Tylenol, or if it's a prescription for Novocaine or something like that. Teachers don't need to know that. These are 4th and 5th, even 12th graders. You know, they don't need to turn that in.
Parents' rights, you know, they can go home and ask the parents, hey, you know, we're learning about drugs or whatever. Can you tell us, you know, what you have? And then the parents can decide if they feel comfortable or not, but not to go and have that invasion of privacy.
I agree.
Yeah. Now we're out of time. I want to ask you, just as a school board member, what can you do about it?
I have 3 main points that I'm running on. It's that we need to cut out some of the administration cost and add more teachers so that classroom size can go down. We need to ignore national government mandates and take back local control and teach our kids what needs to be taught here. And then finally, less cookie cutter standards and more individual focus on each child.
Okay. That sounds good. If I was in Newburgh, you'd have my vote. I want you to bring up somebody else who is running. Jennifer is running in Newburgh. Can you know her?
I do. I actually attend church with Jennifer Fisher. She's running in Zone 6. And so it's actually an open seat. The person that holds District 6 right now is actually stepping down and retiring. So it's an open seat between Jennifer Fisher and her opponent. But I recommend Jennifer Fisher. I've known her for a long time. She's a Sunday school teacher. She's been in Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. She's been on other school boards here in Oregon and in Washington. So she's well qualified for the job.
And she's outspoken against Common Core, I hope?
She is. She
Okay.
is. And then
All right.
also Walter Woodland, who's running in District 2. He is a very good man as well, and he's also against Common Core.
There aren't too many outlets where you can hear in-depth spiritual issues alongside conservative politics, where we can make a difference to those around us and our country. It's brought to you at a cost that's worthwhile, yet I'd like to do more. On 11thhourpolitics.com, you can buy books and videos that will advance this cause. There's delicious chanterelle tea containing vitamin D, proven to dispel depression. We have an art gallery and options to produce your own commercial or have us do it for you, along with other projects. It's only through a co-op that things get accomplished. I hope you will join me in this mission.
Every life is precious, and every life has purpose.
If you've ever felt powerless to make a difference for the cause of life, we invite you to make your voice heard by supporting this thriving community service. We're making an even greater impact for the sanctity of human life with the addition of ultrasound services.
At the Salem Pregnancy Resource Center, lives are being impacted and you can play a part. Let your voice be heard for those who are yet to be born.
Learn more at salemprc.org or call 364-2543.